Welcome! Today we're capturing the absolute essentials of a truly fascinating book in 8 minutes or less. We're going to save you hours of reading and deliver the ultimate cheat sheet for your mind. That's right, we are about to decode the single most complex structure in the known universe, the one sitting right there, right between your ears. So, what does it actually mean to have a healthy brain? For the longest time, most of us just kind of assumed that a healthy brain simply meant the absence of disease, right? Or, just avoiding dementia in old age. But is that all there is to it? Just not being sick? Absolutely not. A truly healthy brain isn't just about surviving, it is all about thriving. It's about feeling exceptionally good and performing at your absolute best every single day. Okay, let's dive into this. To answer that question and build out our ultimate owner's manual, we're drawing directly from a phenomenal source. It's called Brain Health for Dummies by neuroscientist Dr. Sarah McKay. She spent years, literally years, in neurobiology research labs unraveling the mysteries of the mind. So today we're extracting the absolute, non-negotiable essentials from her comprehensive guide to give you a highly actionable roadmap for cognitive resilience. Section 1, Redefining Brain Health. To truly understand how to optimize our minds, we first have to shift to a much more holistic view of human thriving. Enter the biopsychosocial model. It's a bit of a mouthful, but this framework perfectly aligns with the World Health Organization's holistic definition of health. It basically proves that brain health isn't just about, eating your veggies or checking your cholesterol. It is a highly dynamic, totally interconnected mix of biology, psychology, and social factors. Your brain doesn't act in isolation. It's constantly interacting with your environment, your feelings, and the people around you. Because your brain is just so interconnected, its daily workload is honestly staggering. Think about it. Every single second, it's simultaneously perceiving the world, it's interpreting internal biological signals, guiding your behavior and movement, processing incredibly complex emotions and thoughts, navigating social interactions, and on top of all that, maintaining homeostasis, which is really just keeping your body's internal environment perfectly balanced. It does the whole shebang behind the scenes every single second of your life. Section 2, How Your Brain Wires. Now that we know what the brain is doing, we've got to understand how it adapts. And this brilliantly illustrates the point. It's a famous quote by Stanford professor Dr. Carla Schatz, and it basically anchors our entire explainer. Neurons that fire together, wire together. Neurons that are out of sync fail to link. When you learn something new or, say, repeat a habit, the connections between your neurons physically strengthen. Conversely, if you stop doing something, those neural connections actually weaken and prune away. Your brain is literally constantly wiring and rewiring itself based on how much activity is going on. However, the way we wire changes as we get older. In a child's brain, developmental windows, which scientists call critical periods, are flung wide open. This is exactly why kids can pick up a second language so rapidly and almost instinctually. But in an adult brain, most of those critical periods are closed. Now, don't worry, the good news is your brain is still highly malleable as an adult, but the fundamental difference is that it now requires intentional, really conscious effort to wire new pathways. Section 3, Threats to the Brain. If we really want to build a resilient mind, we need to understand exactly what we're defending against. So the crucial point here is understanding modifiable risk factors. Yes, obviously your genetics play a big role in your brain health, but everyday lifestyle choices hold massive, profound power over your risk of cognitive decline. These are the factors you can actually control, and actively addressing them promotes serious brain resilience. Let's look at some of these specific hazards we need to be mindful of. We're talking about things like traumatic brain injuries from accidents, or chronic traumatic encephalopathy, also known as CT, which is a progressive disease from repetitive head trauma that, chillingly enough, can currently only be diagnosed after death. Then there are lifestyle hazards, consuming excessive alcohol, which means more than 21 units a week, and exposure to air pollution. But get this, remarkably, untreated vision loss contributes to a full 2% of all dementia cases. Wow, it really just goes to show how deeply interconnected our senses are with our cognitive longevity. Section 4, 5 Pillars of Prevention. Let's move to and see how this builds into the highly actionable climax of our explainer. This is where we turn this owner's manual into a daily protocol. Here's a rapid-fire sequence of the 5 essential habits you need to prioritize to build a shield against cognitive decline. Connect, sleep, nourish, move, and calm. Let's break these down one by one, because these 5 pillars are your ultimate defense. First up is connect.
Did you know that socializing is actually a massive cognitive workout? Seriously, interacting with others involves thinking, feeling, sensing, reasoning, and intuition. Staying connected actively protects against poor mental health and cognitive decline. In fact, the research is totally clear on this. Social isolation is just as bad for your physical health as smoking a pack of cigarettes. We are social creatures. Our brains literally need other people to thrive. Next is sleep. Our biological rhythms are deeply, deeply tied to the sun. When you skimp on sleep, you immediately affect your cognition and your mood, and you drastically increase your long-term risk of depression and dementia. But healthy sleep, it does absolute wonders. It actively consolidates your memory, it sparks creativity, and it smooths out your emotional edges. Prioritizing your sleep is simply the easiest way to give yourself better control over your thoughts. Pillar number 3 is nourish. Listen. The true secret to longevity isn't found in obsessing over the tiny micro details of the latest fad diet. It's simply in avoiding processed foods. But here's a truly surprising fact from Dr. McKay's research. Your brain actually works best when you are slightly hungry and actively looking for food. Kind of wild, right? So the takeaway is, eat well, but maybe eat just a little less than you think you need. Now for the fourth pillar, move. Now, what's really interesting about this number here is that 150 is the magic target. Your brain evolved to direct a body in motion, right? So 150 minutes of moderate intensity aerobic exercise a week is what you want to hit. Reaching that 150-minute mark actively lowers your risk of developing dementia. Moving your body through the natural world by whatever means you enjoy most is, without a doubt, the single best exercise for your brain. We've got another incredibly specific number for you here, 120/80. What is good for your heart is fundamentally good for your brain. Sure, managing conditions like high cholesterol and diabetes is absolutely critical, but aiming for a blood pressure level of exactly 120/80 millimeters of mercury is a key, highly measurable defense strategy for your cognitive longevity. Finally, our fifth pillar is calm. Now, listen, not all stress is bad for you. Short bursts of stress can actually be super motivating, but chronic, toxic stress, especially from life events outside your control, can seriously mess up your mind. The key isn't eliminating all stress, because that's impossible. It's about improving your perceived ability to cope. You really have to find peace in the chaos, and the most accessible tool you have for that, it's your breath. Simply paying attention to your breathing, which is a core component of mindfulness, directly reduces anxiety, fights depression, and significantly improves your sleep. So, I'll leave you with this final question. Will you start wiring your brain for a thriving future today? Because remember, neurons that fire together wire together. By making intentional choices to connect, sleep, nourish, move, and calm, you are physically building the ultimate resilience in your mind, day by day. You absolutely have the power to shape your cognitive destiny. If you enjoyed this, subscribe to In 8 Minutes and never miss what matters.